All right, Mike, let's just get to it. It was an exciting game yesterday for fans. It was probably the most interesting game in years because of, obviously, Drake Maye. What did you make of his performance?
Fred, I was thinking I'm old now because it took me right back to 1993 when I was just graduating high school, and the Patriots got Drew Bledsoe. And when we saw Drew throw the ball, we said to ourselves after watching, quarterbacks the prior years, we said, team's got a chance now, right? And so that's my long answer short. It was promising.
Now, you graduated in 93 from high school?
That's right.
So did I.
There you go.
No, it took me 7 years. But no. but look at us. Me and Mike Reiss, the same age. You graduated from college in 97?
Yeah. Yep.
Same with me.
There you go.
Yeah,
We're
Mike.
Connecting. We're connecting.
Yeah, we are, baby. So, all right. So, you had seen this. You had seen this in training camp and in practice. This wasn't a surprise to you. Just the physical gifts, the way he throws the ball.
Oh, that part, not a surprise at all, Fred. That's why they drafted him number 3. So I never thought it was about the physical traits. It was more just running the offense. He hadn't called plays in the huddle in college. He had 26 starts in college, which is a lower number compared to the other, rookies that came out in the first round. So it was more just his ability to run the entire operation. You saw that big wristband, right, that he was wearing with all the plays, and got him ready to go. And I think it gives him a chance now.
All right. So when we had Drake Maye, and did you see anything differently in how Van Pelt ran the offense? At first, it seemed like, oh no, when the first 2 plays he runs are running plays, and they immediately put Maye in 3rd and long. But that said, the receivers were involved like they haven't been this season. How much of that is just, and they threw for way more yards and more touchdowns and everything else?
It looked like a functioning NFL offense.
Well, it was, yeah. It was a functioning NFL offense yesterday. Was that entirely Drake Maye, Mike, or did you see different kind of attitude from Van Pelt in the offense?
I would lean more towards the former, Fred. I thought it was more about Drake. I'm going to go back and watch it a little closer to have a more informed answer. But like one play stands out to me that why it was more about Drake. And remember that 30-yard catch and run to Hunter Henry late in the 3rd quarter?
Yeah.
When, Drake kept that play alive with his mobility, kept his eyes upfield, and thought Kendrick Bourne was talking about that in the locker room after the game, how Drake Maye has this unique ability to be like running, but keeping his body square so he can look up the field. And he called it like this. That's what the quarterbacks in today's game do. And he used Patrick Mahomes, which is obviously a lofty comparison. But just that style of play, I think it's the type of play that only Drake, can make with what they have, compared to the other quarterbacks on the roster.
Yeah, and this isn't a question so much as a statement, and then I'll defer to everyone else. If you watch any of Caleb Williams on Sunday morning, Caleb Williams, same thing. Like you can tell special talents. All 3 of the first 3 picks, now with Maye in the mix, it's the same thing, that ability to move, keep your eyes downfield, throw on the run, or set and throw quickly. It's there's a big difference.
Modern quarterback.
Yeah, and everyone goes, "Oh, you don't need that." Yeah, but you do need that. You do need that.
Like, as fast as defenses are and as fast as pass rushers are, you absolutely need that.
Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, it doesn't exist. Like, if you find Brady good, he can sit in the pocket and not have to move that much. But Brady could move in the pocket, so there you go. All right, go ahead.
So, Mike, the thing that kind of stood out to me, and Zoe had pointed it out too, when Maye keeps the ball and runs it himself, it's kind of a deceptive speed that he has because he's a very upright runner. And he's wrapping the ball up. He's, obviously concerned about ball security, which he should be, especially making his first NFL start. But I wonder how that's going to serve him going forward, because He doesn't look like he's taken off. He doesn't look like Lamar Jackson keeping the ball and running with it. He's painfully obvious, when he's out there running. I wouldn't call him evasive. That I would push back on, but he's got a sneaky speed about him that I had trouble putting my finger on when I first saw it, and I think it's because he's so upright when he moves.
I think that's right on, Hardy. I see it the same way. He had the 5 carries for 38 yards, well, with a long of 15. He can move. And Kendrick Bourne, again, was joking last week. He said, I think he has a faster 40-yard dash time than I do. And Bourne, of course, a receiver. So I think that part of it definitely is going to help the Patriots. You mentioned him being upright. I think that's a really good observation. Not just running, but also sometimes in the pocket, just protecting himself. On some of those hits he takes, I think that's going to be important for him going forward as well.
So you were talking about the hits he takes. That leads me into my question. The big worry about playing him, Mike, was that the offensive line isn't particularly good and he was going to take some punishment, and that would lead to developing bad habits. What did you think about the punishment he took yesterday?
That was punishment, John. And there were a couple times I was wondering if he was going to get back up. Tackles look to be an issue, which is not surprising. DeMontre Jacobs at right tackle looked like he struggled at times, as you would expect he would. He was cut by the Broncos at the end of the preseason, picked up by the Patriots, not with the idea of having to start, but to develop. And at left tackle, John, they had Zach Thomas, who was cut by the Rams at the end of the preseason. Patriots claimed him, not thinking he would probably have to play left tackle, but to develop him. But that's the situation they're in. I think if there's one nitpick on Alex Van Pelt, to Fred's question about the way they attack the game, is just did they need to protect those tackles a little bit more with whether it was a tight end there, more chips. And that's a tough spot to be in as an offensive coordinator, because you want to try to open up the offense a little bit. But if you got to be able to protect to do it, and you can't leaving those guys on an island. That's tough. You got to do it at times. Pick your spots, I guess, and look like it hurt him at times to me.
What's going wrong with this team defensively? I mean, after week one, they look like a different team in the season opener, and since then, they are just not giving this team much chance to win.
So, Hardy, the first thing I did this morning, I wanted to go back to the 2 long runs they gave up.
Yeah.
And I would say, obviously, not a coach, not a scout, but if I had to put my coaching and scouting hat on, I would say they aren't playing. They didn't get off blocks, first of all. They didn't play leverage well, and they didn't tackle. And it's like actually a pretty simple game when you think about it. Get off blocks and tackle. Probably, to be fair, like there's a personnel issue. You lose Barmore at defensive tackle. That hurts. You lose Bentley at inside linebacker. That hurts. Not an excuse, Hardy, but just trying to give like what I think are the facts. The Raekwon McMillan for Jawan Bentley exchange at linebacker looked like it really hurt him to me yesterday.
Jabril Peppers, too. Not having him there also hurts.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yep.
Those are all things. So now there seems to be some positivity surrounding the team, and it looks to me like they have a winnable game this coming weekend.
I think that's fair to say, and actually makes me think last week was a winnable game as well, right? Against the Dolphins. Almost makes you wonder.
Yeah,
if they
okay.
played great.
Let's do that. Okay, so let's. You brought it up, so so let's do it. You cover the team. You're great. What do you you know what I'm doing here, but like, what do you think the Patriots' record is if May starts from day one? Did they win the Seattle game? Did they win the Miami game? Like, do they have 3 wins now?
Fred, I can't believe I brought it up before you. I was like, that's got to be your first question today, Fred. What happened?
Because I don't think they should have played him in those games. Because I think
we're worried about the damage.
Yeah,
done to him.
like I would. Today, this year's about protecting Drake Maye a little bit. But what do you think the record would be?
I would say, okay, maybe not win the first game. Maybe win the second game. So let's call that a wash. and probably win the Dolphins game. So give them, instead of 1-5, 2-4.
Okay, so there you go. That's fair, and it really doesn't make a difference. So there you go. Okay, with what you saw, in the pressure and the hits that he took, not him getting hurt, but do you think that he's safe enough where he's not going to fall back into the bad habits he had coming into the league?
TBD, right,
Yep.
Fred? I mean, I think we got to see on that, because I think those are like a residual effect over time. And I would almost, I'm just thinking of this off the top of my head, use Jacoby Brissett as an example. Like I thought we saw that slightly go, just sort of erode from the first game to the second game to the third game to the fourth game as he started to take more hits and pressure started to come, more regularly at him. So let's keep an eye on it. It's a concern. And I think I always go back to, how Bill Belichick would talk when he coached. Like, what's the things we can't do? And let's make sure we don't do it. And if you're going to play those tackles, Fred, I think I would say, and I'm going to give Christian Fourier credit. He said this on TV last night on Sports Final on WBZ. If the ball's not coming out quick, you got to have extra protection to help the tackles, right? And like they did on the 40-yard touchdown pass, if you look, the running back, Jermichael Hasty's helping out the left tackle. So if it's not coming out quick, got to protect the tackles who are overmatched right now, not by any means their own fault. They're being asked to do more than they probably should. And I think that, if I'm long answer to a better question, I would say, as long as you do that, you give Drake a chance.
All right. Also safe to say that Gerard Mayo is not going to let them be celebrating any moral victories this week. He was pretty adamant in his postgame that the team should feel like crap because they didn't do anything very well, and they kind of let Drake Maye down by not doing enough to help him in his first start.
Hardy, that was very strong from Gerard Mayo, and I would just say it's not just the players, it's Gerard too. That's another week. So 12 penalties last week that were accepted, 9 penalties this week, and I would put 5 of them in the category of avoidable penalties. Like, you can argue about the defensive pass interferences and maybe a holding call here or there, but illegal formation on the opening kickoff, offside from a defensive captain, Dietrich Wise, false start by 2 offensive linemen, and a false start from Drake Maye. So to me, those are 5 avoidable penalties. And that's on I don't want to say it's on the coaching staff, but it's the coaching staff has to come up with solutions, like Gerard has said. So yeah, the players should feel like crap, as he said. That's not the type of performance they want to put on film. And I'm sure Gerard himself feels the same way, because it's not just about the players, it's the whole team, and the coaches set the tone.
That false start on Drake Maye was maybe the singular moment where he looked like a guy making his first NFL start.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last time I saw that called on the quarterback.
Well, I have to go back and watch it. Did he just pull out of there early?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
He pulled out of there early. But there was also that moment where everything calmed down for him, Mike. That drive at the end of the third quarter, it looked to me like he kind of found his footing. Beautiful.
And really, and now I would say that, and also, John, the drive at the end of the second quarter, the 2-minute drive.
Yeah.
And I would give Alex Van Pelt some credit on that too, because I thought they've struggled in that area, in 2 of the prior games. So I thought they handled that really well. But I'm with you, John. Like that drive at the end of the third quarter, I'm looking at my sheet right now. At that point, it's 27-7. So maybe there's just like, you're just playing at that point, right? Like, and I just thought, I'm looking at it here, like that was the play to Henry that we talked about that he kept alive.
Yep.
Pop Douglas over the middle. Just looked look good, gives you a chance, right?
Yeah, and I'll give Van Pelt credit because I believe they ran on the first play of that last possession of the first half, and you were like, they're just going to let the clock run.
That's right.
Down 14.
That's what
I thought the same thing.
I had written my last little note to myself for the half, and I'm like, that's it, and had drawn the line. I'm like, okay, that's it, and that.
And you would think you would at least want the kid to get the experience of running a 2-minute offense, you know?
But on that one, and I wrote about this Sunday, and this is where Alex Van Pelt can push back on a critic like myself, is Drake made a play on second down. Remember the short pass to Demario Douglas for 18 yards or for 22 yards? By him making that play, it set it up. Because if he throws incomplete there, like they're probably not taking the same approach on the drive. So it's not just a play call. Like the player's got to make plays. And that's where Drake elevated the team more so than Jacoby did in those situations earlier in the season.
Yeah, if you're Jacoby Brissett, you got to just be happy you're sitting at this point. Seriously, you're getting killed, and you weren't doing yourself any favors for your career. You're still getting paid.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.